So I think I'll just get the session started. Everyone, thank you very much for joining our Frontiers in Research series. Today, we're pleased to welcome Professor Dr. Heiko Gewald from Neu-Ulm, University of Applied Sciences, Germany. The floor is yours, sir.
Hello. It's sort of unused for me to speak with a microphone because I have a pretty loud voice, but we wanted to record this session, so I think the microphone is essential. Warm welcome, everybody. Thank you for the invitation to speak a bit about current research projects we are doing in the area of health IT, and of course, areas for potential collaboration. Whoever wants to work with us, we are most happy to have you join us. Before I start, let me tell you a bit about myself and where I come from. So Neu-Ulm, University of Applied Sciences, is located in southern Germany. It's Germany, we are here in the south. We are in the federal state of Bavaria, halfway between Munich and Stuttgart, or easier between BMW and Mercedes. The funny thing is, Ulm and Neu-Ulm are twin cities. So both cities are like one big city, just divided by the river Danube. But Ulm is in Baden-Württemberg and Neu-Ulm is in Bavaria, two different federal states with separate laws and stuff. So during the COVID pandemic, that was very funny because one state had a set of rules and the other state had a set of rules. And as soon as you crossed the river, like 10 meters, a different set of rules applied. That made it a bit difficult sometimes. The overall population is about 200,000 people. 200,000 people. We have 3 universities. 1 comprehensive universities and 2 universities of applied sciences, whereas we are a business school, so focusing on everything health, everything management related. The University Ulm is a technically oriented. They have the engineering fields. What is particular about our area, we are one of the strongest economic areas in Germany. Our unemployment rate is literally 0. There are no unemployed people in the region. And the good thing for students, not every student is like the brightest student in the world. So even the lower end of our students have like 4 or 5 job offers way before they finish their studies. It is that vibrant. We have some interesting companies around. Daimler TSS, so whenever you drive a Mercedes, all the security in the car and around the car, all that comes from Ulm globally. We are the global center for that. Have you ever heard about Ratiopharm, Teva? No, nobody did. It's one of the largest generic pharmaceutical companies. So they are not doing research. They are focusing on medication where the patent has expired and where they are allowed to produce that. One of the largest ones. Has anybody heard of Wieland? No, nobody did. Wieland is one of the world's largest copper product producers. So whenever you live in a house and you have running water and it's a sort of modern house, the water pipes are made from copper. And guess what? 70% chance these pipes come from Ulm. Anybody ever heard about Liqui-Moly? Nobody did. Oh, you did? Awesome. Formula 1. You know, if you're watching like race cars, Formula 1, all the high-powered engines use Liqui-Moly. And where does it come from? Yeah, thank you. Ulm, right. So yeah, pretty vibrant. We have some famous sons of the city. So everybody obviously knows, where's Albert Einstein born, Asta? Okay, hello. No, where was Albert Einstein born? No, not Hamm, Ulm. Yeah, right. So he was born in Ulm and he spent the first 3 months of his life there. So all the intelligence obviously comes from Ulm. No doubt about that. I don't think you know Uli Hoeneß, but Uli, well, unless you're like a football buff. So Uli Hoeneß was for 20 years or something, the manager of Bayern Munich. So these are our two famous sons. And as you undoubtedly know, where is the world's highest church tower? Right, it's in Ulm. So this is it, the Ulmer Münster, still the highest church tower in the world, 160.5 meters high. And we also have another funny thing, the officially most crooked hotel in the world. And that is a picture of it. It's difficult to see, but they have like a line hanging from here down to there with a key attached to the line. And you see the distance, it just goes straight down between the key and the actual house is like 4 meters. It is like that. You have seen it, I think, right? Yeah, okay, then you haven't seen it. You'll never forget something like that. So it's like a very old building from 13 something, and there's a small river here up front, and the building started to sink into the river, but it was all occupied all the time. So it just went deeper and deeper and deeper. So in the 1970s, they stabilized it, and it's not going any deeper, but it is, you can book a night there, and every room has like a water balance. So you can see how crooked your room is. Funny thing. Yeah, that is another impression of the city, our town hall, and that is our castle. Our castle means our university castle. So we have our own castle. Whenever you come and visit, let us know, and we do a tour of the castle next time. Right, I'm a director at the Institute for Digital Innovation. Just a quick advertisement. We are doing awesome stuff. If you want to do something with us, let us know. We are mainly working on information systems. That means the threefold structure of organization, people, and IT systems, and how all that works together, or more interesting, does not work together. We focus on adoption, resistance, continuous use. Why do people use the system? Why do they not use the system? The effects that digital innovations have on individuals and the society, and intra and inter-organizational collaboration. So how do people work with each other? How do companies work with each other? All that type. Other focus areas are IT and healthcare, specifically the technology adoption of the elderly, a very interesting area, and smart cities. We're doing a lot about smart city stuff. Right, let me begin with the first research project, detecting emotions from human speech using artificial intelligence and natural language processing. The question we have, the human voice carries signals, and it carries signals you are not aware of, subconscious signals, signals that humans, normal human beings, cannot control. Like when you have fear, you fear something, you notice that your voice breaks. You cannot control that. So the interesting thing is, what can we read out of the voice? Fear, uncertainty, happiness, fairly easy. That has been done multiple times. But how about your well-being? How good are you today? You feel fine? Yes, of course, because you have a brilliant research presentation here, so you'll be happy. But tomorrow you may be not so happy, I hope not. Or you're even happier, better example. So can we measure that? Can we measure that from your voice? Difficult. Even more difficult when people are getting older. Cognitive changes, cognitive decline. Can we detect that from the voice? And the final end boss, detection of dementia. Is it possible by analyzing the human voice to create an early detection mechanism to detect dementia and Alzheimer's? Because when your surroundings, when your family and friends notice that, oh, he forgets the name again, and he forgets his car keys again and everything, then it's literally already too late. You want to catch it as early as possible because there is no cure for dementia. But you can take medicine. So there's big progress in medicine development. that postpones the outbreak. And if you detect it in a 70-year-old person, and you can put the outbreak back by 20 years, chances that you cure the person, because the person dies of something else before, are pretty high. So you want to find it as early as possible, and we think you can detect it from the human voice. So our overarching research questions: what non-verbal signals can an AI accurately detect from the voice? And we start with emotions. So the first research we tackle is, what emotions can we accurately detect? Emotions are a bit difficult. It's a concept from psychology, but it is a concept like you ask 5 colleagues and you get 10 different opinions. So there is not the opinion on it. What is generally accepted, there are basic emotions and complex emotions. Even how many basic emotions do we have? Some say 6, some say 8, some say 12, up to discussion. But these are the sort of easy ones. The complex emotions are more difficult. They consist of basic emotions and other complex emotions, or only on other complex emotions. So the complex part is the part where it's really fun. So we thought, okay, where do we start? Take something easy, lying. Everybody hates lying people. So yeah, why not do that? Ekman, psychologist, says lying is a complex emotion. Okay, let's start there. The reaction your body shows when you are lying can be measured. Everybody knows the famous lie detector test, right? It measures like differences in body temperature, sweating, all that type of stuff. So when you are lying, your body reacts. And some things you can control, others you can't. So we try, okay, can we detect whether a person is lying or not just from the spoken language? There's no such thing as the lie. We have white lies. It's when Asta greets me in the morning and says, Heiko, you're looking good today. Yeah, we both know it's not true, but that is technically not a lie. That's like a compliment. It's called a white lie. Why are you laughing, by the way? Cultural differences. Omission of information. I tell the truth, but not everything. And I actually lie, but not telling everything. Difficult. Is that a lie or not? And of course, you have like the totally professional fraudsters, people who lie bluntly to your face just to get your money. What constitutes a lie is the deliberate attempt to deceive another person. Deliberate is the key here. So when I say, thank you for inviting me to Thammasat University, it's great here, because I'm just mistaken. No, it was just an error. Then it's not a lie, because I do not intentionally try to deceive you. I was just wrong. So I don't experience the emotion of lying. Typically, when I present that study, the first thing that comes up is, do that on politicians. They are all lying. Not in Thailand, of course, but other countries. Take Donald Trump, for example. The thing with politicians is also different. It's called cognitive dissonance. They create their own world. I am 100% sure that Donald Trump really believes the election was stolen from him. Therefore, it's not a lie, because he says what he thinks is the truth. He's lying a lot, but in that case, not. So that makes politicians very difficult, because most of the times are not actively lying. They are just telling their version of the truth. Thus, they are not lying. So that's really difficult. Let's take it a bit easier. So we wanted to create an AI model that is able to predict whether a speaker is arguing for or against her inner belief. There are apart from voice analysis, there are other mechanisms, the invasive measures like an EEG, electro something. That is when you get this funny head and they measure your brain. Very accurate, highest reliability, up to 90%, even higher. However, in daily business life, if you want to talk to a person and say, okay, before we start discussion, would you please put on that hat and wait until I connect it to you? Difficult, not really usable for that. Another popular method is text recognition, where they analyze the content of what has been said. Or also trendy video recordings, especially for your micro expressions. So reactions of your muscles in your face that you cannot control. The difficult thing about that is you need a very good camera, you need a very good position, you need ideal conditions. So also for a business context, hardly usable. And you can combine these, of course. Interestingly enough, typically when you combine multiple measures, the detection accuracy goes down, not up. But that's another story. How good are you in detecting lies? I guess around 50%.
Several majors,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the validity should be increased, but you say that is wrong.
Yeah.
That to predict what I believe, and I am telling the truth.
Yeah, so you're not lying then. You're just wrong. No, seriously. Untrained human beings, on average, 50%. You can be trained like police interrogators and all that type of stuff. They get higher values, but the normal average person has about 50%. It's like tossing a coin. We are notoriously bad in detecting lies. That's very funny, I think. So we developed a solution, an AI model, an artifact, and we wanted it to have three things. It needs to be usable in everyday customer situations. So no EEG with a funny head and something. Germans, data protection, data privacy, very important in our country. Otherwise, you get thrown out instantly. So the solution needs to be capable of informing the participant that we are doing something like that. And we do no voice recognition. So we only analyze the voice, but we don't understand a single word. We are doing no text to speech, speech to text. You can sing a song. Our mechanism would not recognize the difference. So that is good. And of course, AI always a bit difficult. We're looking for decision support, not decision making. So the mechanism itself gives a recommendation, gives an assessment, but we never say that person is lying. We give a probability, but we don't say the person is lying. And the target value we want to achieve is an accurate recognition of more than 85%, and we currently have around 83%. So we're confident we hit the 85% mark later this year or next year. So the biggest challenge for that is, where do I get my data from? And what do we use in university? What do we have in abundance? Students, right. So we took our students for that, and they all loved it, of course. We said, okay, we need pre-emotional speech, which is clearly classifiable if it is a lie or not. Well, in that case, we don't say lie, we say for or against the inner belief. So we came up with the idea, let's do a debating club. You know what a debating club is. You get two people, one topic, randomly assigned, you are pro, you are con. Then we created 4 very polarizing topics. So you may be aware, there is no death penalty in Germany. So after our beautiful experiences in the 1930s, we thought, okay, death penalty is not good anymore, we leave that out. It is not a thing in Germany. Regardless what you do, nobody calls for death penalty thereafter. We just don't. So we say, okay, you are the pro position. You now need to argue for the reintroduction of the death penalty with public executions. You hardly find a person in Germany who is for that, and especially not amongst students. So that is a hard, very polarizing topic. Other topic was, shall all drugs, including crystal meth and heroin, be free and legal? You also, nobody wants crystal meth addicts in your neighborhood. So, shall we abolish all fast food? You get the proposition. Also, so for really, and it's also important because we need to know your inner position. It needs to be a topic where you feel no shame. So even if you say, well, fast food is the worst thing on this planet, we should abolish it all, you would clearly state that, right? And also for or against the death penalty, that is easy. So creating the 4 topics we use, that was a very major effort that took us a long time, but they worked very well in the end. So clear classification, polarizing topics, pro-con position at random, and a follow-up discussion where we ask the students, okay, were you for or against it, so that we could label our data sets. Members of the university, mainly students, but also our administration. So we sent an email if you want to participate. Quite a large number from the administration wanted to participate because people find that actually interesting. It's an interesting topic. Research colleagues, teaching colleagues, and also some people from the street. So family and friends, just to get no bias in the data. The recording quality of, you see, it's an old project. We still use Skype in these old days. So Zoom, Skype, telephone, all that is totally sufficient. We need 44.1 kilohertz, which is nothing, actually. And we currently have 89 recordings, and we are still collecting data on that. But we get awesome results with 89 recordings. That is really amazing. So we needed a use case. Do something easy, insurance fraud. You know, I sit on my glasses. Glasses are extremely expensive. And now, oh, damn, my bad luck. But hey, Asada, we are good friends, hey? If you sit on my glasses and report it to your insurance company, it's a damage you do to me, it's insured, you get reimbursed and give me the money. Hey, everybody does it, right? It's fraud, it's a felony, but it's a socially, but at least in our culture, it's sort of socially accepted because it's, you know, the big insurance company and I pay so much money each year. I want something back. That is unfortunately in German, but that's an assessment of the Association of German Insurances. 10 billion euro, 10 billion euro damage from insurance fraud each year. That is a lot of money, ladies and gentlemen. They calculate that every 10th claim is fraudulent. Every 10th. So it's like there's really music in here. Yeah, so the algorithm recognizes if the speaker is telling the truth or not. And it is not that, okay, you're not telling the truth, you're out. It is more like if the algorithm indicates the speaker with a high probability may not speak the truth, then you have 2 options. If it's a call center, you just give the call center agent a different script. You know, call center agents work by script. Ask that question, ask that question, ask that question. And you can get him another script, an interrogative script. Just drilling deeper, drilling deeper, drilling deeper. That's what police does in an interview. And then these people, and then you can tell them, and by the way, you know that a fraudulent claim is a felony and you go to jail, something like that. So we want to scare them off, actually. The other option is, if we have the claim, and if it is classified as fishy, then route this claim to the fraud department, and they do an in-depth check. So these are the 2 options. Both work very well. And you can do this either in the call center, or what our insurances more and more are using, online self-service. So you have an app on your smartphone. Okay, I have a claim. And there's this section, what happened. And people hate typing that. So you just say, what happened? Speak into my phone. And then you speak into the phone and you deliver the voice file straight to our algorithm. Awesome. So typically in a normal presentation, we would now do a live experiment of a client who calls to report a damage. Oh, something really bad happened. Yeah, okay, well, tell me what happened. And then the AI comes and gives an assessment what it does. So we would take a recording, we would analyze it, and the result looks like that. That is actually a real live result. We had a presentation with the German Association of Insurers with their fraud detection specialists. And we were like really nervous. So one of the specialists said, okay, I have a claim. And he explained the claim. And the claim was totally off. Well, yes, I'm a security guard at a local university, and I live in a very difficult, very shitty place, in a very shitty part of the city. And somebody broke into my flat and stole my Picasso and stole my 15th century cupboard. Totally insane. Yeah, the damage is about 500,000 euro. When can I expect payment? Okay, totally off. So we put it into our algorithm and it came back with 100%. It's the highest hit we ever had. True inner conviction was represented by 100%. It means the person is totally telling the truth. Oh, no, I was sweating, you can't believe it. And then you have like a room full of fraud detection specialists. It's okay. You know, if we have a accuracy of 82%, still 18% error and such things happen, you know, no. What do you mean, no? That was not an error. What do you mean? That was an actual case he had on his desk. And he doesn't know if the person is lying or not. So he, the specialist, was actually telling the full truth because he told a true story. We actually need his client to tell the story. Then we can do the real assessment. But it was very interesting. So he said, well, I'm responsible for high damages only, 250,000 euro plus. These are my cases. But I have limited capacity. I have 3 cases on my desk. I only have time to care of 2. And your algorithm could help me to decide which ones to take. I have my gut feeling. I have the information, but I just want like a second opinion. It was a very interesting thing. Right, how does the algorithm work? Our human hearing only goes 500 hertz to 6 kilohertz. Our algorithm goes higher, picks up sounds your ear cannot pick up. We do some pre-processing, and then we analyze. It's actually 38 different features we are analyzing. Some like delays in the speech, changes in frequency, changes in speech rate.
Subject speak German.
This is a German data set yet. Interestingly enough, we have a high number of international exchange students coming in. And we tested it on 5 Thai students and worked with, I think, 4 out of 5 we found correctly. Yeah. No, they spoke English. That is like a further research thing. Is it language sensitive or not? Or does it really, is the emotion you experience when you're lying, is that a universal emotion? Does that apply to the Western, Occident, or to the Eastern side? What is lying? Lying is perceived differently in different cultures. I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but like Chinese people have a different perception of lying. It's culturally different from our Western perception. We have these things like if somebody created an awesome product, the intellectual property belongs to the creator. You cannot just go there and rebuild it and say it's yours. That is an ongoing thing with China all the time, intellectual property, because they have a different perception of that construct. Probably of lying as well, I don't know yet, but that would be very, very interesting. there are 45 MFCCs, mel frequency correlation coefficient, something like that. And these are the features we are analyzing. So we ran like multiple tests and we got the best results if we use a specific set of only 38 out of these 45. Right, yeah, then the algorithm does its magic. It's like AI, it's a black box. We don't know why the AI decides as it does. But the interesting thing is all tests we did, so the majority of our input data was students, but it works with professionals, it works with old people. Up to now, it worked with everyone. You ask why? I have no idea, but don't tell anybody. We have some limitations, of course. So the one thing is the speaker needs to be aware that he or she is lying. If you're unaware of it, then you're not lying. Then we cannot pick it up. Definition of a lie. And the voice needs to actually carry emotions. One thing I always wanted to try, if you are a professional actor, like Brad Pitt or something, these people are trained to show emotions they do not yet have. That's acting, right? I have no idea how that is perceived by our algorithm. So one of the things when I got research money again, hire like a set of actors and try it with them. And professional liars, imposters, fraudsters, also a very difficult thing. Very difficult to get their voice data. So you actually need to liaise with the police department and ask if you can a recording of an interrogation. That's a long and winding road, but I will do that one day. Technically, we cannot yet do a live analysis. So it's still, we record it, we pre-process it, we put it on the machine, and we get a result. It's currently not, you're talking, and while you're talking, we can analyze. But that's a technical thing. And we also currently cannot use a dialogue. So the algorithm cannot segregate between 2 or 3 different voices. So these are things we need to do one day. Further research, very interesting. What is the minimum time required? That is intellectually very, very difficult. So you cannot make it smaller and smaller and smaller and test. It's much more difficult than that. We're currently using 30 seconds. Is 30 seconds right? Are 10 seconds enough? Which 10 seconds? Also, what is if you're telling a longer story, not from the first word to the last word is everything a lie. In that long story, there are some lies. Do we need to pick up these lies? Or are you in the emotional state of lying for the whole time? Because the small lies are part of a bigger lie. Also don't know yet, further research. And what we of course would like to do, explainable AI, understand why the model decides what it decides. But the next big thing is to create an algorithm to assess the individually perceived well-being of older people. That's a traditional problem in Germany, in our culture, in the Western regions. We don't have these strong family ties anymore that you do. My prognosis is this is something that will happen in your society as well, maybe in a couple of years' time. But for myself, for example, so my parents live in the north of Germany, I live in the south. Getting to my parents is 1 day up and 1 day down. So you can't just do it for a weekend. I'm a bad son, I should visit my parents more often. Doesn't work. Then 2 years ago, my father died. Now my mother is alone. I want to know how she is. And what happens when you call your mother? Hey mother, how are you? Fine. She is always fine. She's lying. So seriously, even if she is not fine, she always tells me she's fine because she does not want to be a burden. It is the contrary. If she is not good, I need to know that. Then I can do something. But I don't trust her anymore because she always says she's fine. So I would be feeling much better if I had an algorithm that tells me how she is and I don't need to ask her anymore. Imagine like a Google Home thing or an Amazon Alexa that constantly listens. And I can create a baseline. Everybody has good days and has bad days. But I want to know, is there a significant decline? Or even worse, is there a sudden drop? Because these are the two things where I need to intervene. Sudden drop, I need to see that somebody is getting there soon. Family and friends up in the north, professional caretaker. If it's a constant decline, maybe I need to change something in my lifestyle to visit her more often. But I want to know. And I want to know, can I create an AI algorithm that is able to objectively, as objective as possible, detect her mood, her well-being? Getting the training data is really, really difficult for that. Because of course you're fine, everybody is fine. 75 to 80% of the people are always fine. If you reduce it to a Likert scale of 5, everybody is in the 4. Some are in the 5 when they're very happy. But if people are in the 1 area, like they're feeling really bad, guess what? They don't want to fill out a questionnaire for us and give us a speech sample because they're feeling bad. Leave me alone, get out. But it's important for research. Out, I said. So that's a major challenge. So the I feel really bad are massively underrepresented. We are working on that. We're working with a specialized hospital for palliative care because people who are close to dying really feel bad. We assume at least. Interestingly enough, so they take in people who have an average life expectancy of 14 days. Interestingly enough, you could say, okay, I have only 14 days to live. Why should I spend an hour with you? Many people want that. Many people who know that they are dying want to do something. It's very interesting. I learn something new every day. So we're starting this exactly this month. So let's see how that goes. Currently, we have 32 interviews, and they are labeled against the WHO, the World Health Organization Quality of Life Index for old people. It's like a questionnaire with 36 questions, reduced version 12 questions, that is specifically designed for old people and tested to death. More than 150,000 participants around the world. So that is really solid. So we use that questionnaire and we use an interview, and this is how we label our data. But still, 32 is not as good as we want, but it's good enough for a publication in one of our leading journals. And also the TV loves us. That's my colleague. So this is something you can talk about. Works very nice, good outside imaging. So it's fun to be on TV. Actually, when the TV crew comes in, yeah, I'm an actor. Right. Any questions so far for what we do on AI, NLP, voice analysis? Or am I talking too much? Yeah, I'm talking too much again. Another topic we are doing, seniors' adoption and use of digital innovations towards a technology acceptance model for the aging generation. Old people and IT. So general accepted is that old people hate IT, right? Everybody knows that. Of course, that's wrong, because not all of them. Elderly people are a very heterogeneous group. So some can't live without their PS4, and some hate their PC. Why is that the case? Old people are a very important group of society everywhere on the planet. In 20 years, we will have more people over 35 than under 35 on this planet. In about 30 years, China will implode, like the thing with the one-child policy, the long end of that. Even in Africa, You have more and more old people than you have younger people. Who is taking care of our old people? Difficult. So we need to come up with solutions for that. This is what we want to work on. But in research, we know very little about our seniors. We don't understand why some accept technology, others don't. We don't know what are the motivating factors. We have the technology acceptance model and we have the U-tout and stuff, but this is all done for people our age. I don't count myself as senior yet. So, and there is dramatically few research comparing old people to young people. We typically use what we have at hand for empirical research, and what do we have in abundance? Students, yeah, young people. Recruiting old people is difficult. It's a lot of effort. But what we need more is comparisons of younger people to older people to understand the mechanisms in the older people. Just so we did a large number of studies. Just one, how does the prior workplace influence mature adult? That was in an American context. So you're not allowed to say senior, you're not allowed to say old person. So mature, we call them mature people. We mean old people. How does it influence the e-health use? So we were thinking, if all these people were retired, if before retirement, you worked in a job with using computers, how does that influence your computer usage today, your IT usage? And we had like really interesting responses. So somebody, that guy was retired for ages, said, yeah, I was a heavy internet user, yeah. But you retired 1970. Yeah, there was a lot of internet. Spoiler, no. But that's the fun you have when you're doing qualitative research. So what did we find out? An IT-intense workplace leaves a stable impact. So even if people were working like in retirement since 20 years, if they worked with IT before, they are good with IT today. So that carries through. Also, specifically, we were using at eHealth use. If they did work with computers before, they also have a higher use of eHealth services. Not just general, not just TikTok and Facebook and stuff, but also like serious stuff. And another thing we found is that the use of eHealth solutions strongly depends on positive outcome expectations. That was like really stronger than we expected. So just one minor study. I have a lot of them, but I don't have enough time. So I just wanted to show you one summary of what we found across all those studies. No, older adults, old people, are not a homogeneous group. They are very diverse, much more diverse as research or common expectations usually thinks. Their use of IT is complex, and it's an interplay of IT skills, of health perceptions, and of aging related, specifically cognitive. When you're getting older, your cognitive abilities decline. You have motoric difficulties, but also cognitive, let me call it flexibility, for example. And this is in research totally underrepresented. We still treat our research groups as if everybody was still in their 20s. I'm not. I may look, but whatever. To fully understand how older people adopt and use and continuously use IT, we need to take a look at their prior work with IT before they left the workplace, their digital skills, the interest to explore. That is also a very important factor. You have people all to the way of up to old age who are curious, who want to learn new things. And you have others, the ones who say, okay, I'm old now, I don't need to learn anything new. Everything I learn is wasted in 5 years, but then I'm dead anyway. So different perceptions, different mental models, the actual use, and the expected positive consequences for their personal well-being. Personal well-being is something very important to that research group. So we are currently having a research project on that to assess what the factors are affecting seniors' use. And we want to create a TAMAG, we call it, Technology Acceptance Model for the Aging Generation. It has to have IT-related factors. Well, we could use the TAM and the UTAUT for that. Health-related, we could use the health belief model for that. But the crucial nut is aging-related. Physical age versus cognitive age. A person that is 80 typically does not feel like an 80-year-old person. If they are healthy and in a good mood, they are more like 65 to 70. But in research, we are always using the physical age. We take the year of birth, we take the current year, we subtract, and that is the age. But that is not true. You have old people and you have young old people, and they behave differently. It's something we need to take into account. Or the thing about cognitive decline, motoric decline, social distance, loneliness. Not every old person is being taken care of and loved by their family. There are also people who feel lonely. That's a very strong factor influencing IT use. So this is what we're currently working on. Yeah, this is what we're working on. We want to build that model. We use a twofold empirical approach. So first, we do grounded theory, interviews, qualitative empirics to understand better, to see the connections. And once our research model is solid, then we can go into a quantitative empirics, like with a couple of 100 people using questionnaires to really make the research solid. And yeah, currently we are in phase 1, doing interviews with elderly to explore the influential factors. So if anybody is interested in that type of research, I am here, I am open, I'm always looking for people to collaborate. Just let me know. I live next to Asta, so okay, on the other side of the floor, I meant. And I'm here, when I'm here literally all day, just drop by. Good on time. Third thing, AI. Everybody loves artificial intelligence. Really? Everybody. Some do, many don't. What about physicians, doctors? How do physicians use AI systems, and how does the affect that is a very horrible title. Mental note, avoid horrible title next time. So we are taking a look into the physician's professional identity and the patient-doctor relationship and how that is affected by the use of AI systems. AI systems are a big thing in healthcare, all along the patient journey, from prevention to screening, diagnostics, therapy, and aftercare. These are just some examples. You find AI everywhere in that process. But what about the physician? Oh no, 1 second. How does that affect the physician, their professional identity? What is the professional identity of a physician? I am here to help. I save lives. I am a godlike figure. I have the highest autonomy. I can decide about life and death. That is the perception, and that is actually, it's true. They may not be the smartest person on the planet, but in medical terms, they are smarter than every untrained person. So we respect them. It's a high status occupation, and they perceive themselves like that. And the higher you go up in the hierarchy, so that all the way up to the head physician. I worked with many of these people. They have a very high sensitivity for their status. Like we hired a physician, a head physician, as a professor for one of our medical-oriented fields of study. And the first, the first thing he did after he came into the university, why do I only have one secretary? Excuse me, you don't have a secretary. That's the faculty secretary. She cares for everybody. That's not enough. I need at least 3. Why? Yeah, but why? Well, because I always had 3. It's a different mindset. You know, he always had 3 secretaries. Now he's coming to a university. I don't need a secretary. What for? Just every once in a while, I need to do something I cannot do myself. And I ask her, can you do it for me? We have 1 secretary for 35 professors. Why? I need 3. Oh, okay. So that's physicians, head physicians, very, very special people. And they are formed by their professional identity. How do I identify? So in diagnosis and therapy, yes, AI enhances my capabilities, makes my decisions better and faster. But also, I see a risk of de-skilling. You know, if I rely on a machine to do work for me, then I cannot do it my own anymore. And dependency. What do I do when the system breaks down? You're missing the best part. I'm so sorry for you. Goodbye. Decision making, same thing. You can make decisions much faster. Decision making can also be small decisions. It does not need to be the big at the end, but several small decisions on the way to the big decision. If I don't need to do them myself, then I save a lot of time. But also I'm becoming dependent, and my professional autonomy. I am the doctor. I am the one who makes the decisions. Now an AI makes decisions. They are ambivalent. On the one hand, they like it, that it saves time. On the other hand, they feel a threat. Empathy. That would be so awesome. Thank you so much.
No.
Even if. Thank you very much. That motor needed some oil. Liquid moly. Very interesting thing is empathy. How empathic are doctors? Different. Typically, the higher you go up in the hierarchy, the lower the level of empathy. But we saw the first studies now that showed that AI systems are perceived as more empathic than human beings. And we're talking chatbot studies now. But take a look into the future, like 2, 5, 10 years, when we have an artificial doctor sitting on a video screen or a hologram, whatever, and we perceive that person as better explaining stuff to us and being more empathic. That is a threat these people feel. And it's a challenge for the physician-patient relationship. What if the patient wants to talk to the chatbot and not to me anymore? How can I control what happens? It's a loss of control thing. And a very tricky thing is responsibility. So in a traditional healthcare context, the physician, the treating physician, is responsible. If the nurse does a damage, does something wrong, bad nurse, but the responsibility remains with the treating physician. It's part of their status, you know. How about AI systems that make it really, really complicated now? Because a system cannot be responsible. The person who oversees the system is responsible. But how does that relate to the professional autonomy of the physician? He does not oversee the system, maybe a tiny bit, but he does not understand why the system makes a decision. Same thing with our lie detector. We don't know why the system detects it or not. So there are a lot of really big challenges here. How does the integration of AI in healthcare delivery shape what it means to be a physician? That is a strong threat to the whole healthcare landscape. Decision-making legitimacy. What if the patient talks to the physician and the physician uses an AI algorithm to give the right answer? Loss of face. It is the concern to appear less competent, less knowledgeable. If you're going to a doctor and you say, yeah, I have this and that, and he says, let me Google that for you. Does that increase your confidence in your doctor? Typically not. If you say, okay, I'm on that medication and I have something like that, yeah, you need to do that medication. Let me check for cross indications. Does that increase your confidence? Or does that affect your confidence? Typically not. Because it's just a very small, tiny, specialist thing. We accept that nobody can know every medication on the planet. And by the way, Germany alone, 15,000 deaths in hospital each year due to wrong medication. Just on a side note. So, concern to appear less competent. Authority. Will the use of an AI system be perceived by the patient in a way that it undermines my authority? The doctor is only half as good without his AI system. But it's improvement. You know, we want the AI. It makes things faster. It makes our decisions better. We know that. But we don't want our patients to doubt our competence. So it's a classic ambivalence here. We see the usefulness on the one hand side, but we also want to keep our status. We want to keep our face towards the patient on the other side. And we are interested in understanding this ambivalence, what we can do about it, how we can help the physicians to overcome that issue. Also here, we have a fascinating research project, also empirical work, so qualitative, interview-based, with physicians who use and physicians who do not use AI systems, trying to understand why it is the case. And we are currently starting the data collection phase, doing the interviews about perceptions of AI, coping strategies, and the impact. So if somebody is interested into this brilliant piece of research, just let me know. I live across the floor from Asta. I'm here a long time. And if we don't meet, send me an email, because one of my research assistants is currently heavily working on that. And we are trying to get data from different cultural contexts. So we have South America, we have Australia, Germany, obviously. Thailand would be very much appreciated. If somebody is interested, please do not hesitate to get in touch. Yo. 1 minute left. Are there any questions so far? Is there anything? Yes.
You're addressing specific sample who are senior or mature adults, and is that easy for in your case, like you can access to those sample mature adults?
Thank you for the question. It is a lot of work, but it is not difficult actually. So you need to find your seniors. In Germany, we have senior citizen centers, for example. That is a place where old people go like twice a week or something, just sit down, have coffee, play games, listen to stuff. If you engage with those centers and say, I'm from the local university, I'm giving a presentation about research on the behavior of elderly, they love it. It shows that somebody is actually interested in them. Also, if you have senior homes, we have a lot of those in Germany, and you go to the head of the senior home and say, yeah, I'd like to do that. I'd like to give a presentation, have an interview with your seniors living here, if they want that. Everybody's happy about it. It's entertaining for them. And the funny thing is, you saw we have like roughly 200,000 people living in Ulm and 3 universities. So we have a lot of retired professors sitting there. They are the worst, but very entertaining. So it is possible. You just need to find the right angle. Are there further questions? Sure.
You said about the job, the IT, the person who involved with IT job and retire, and they might have a higher IT participation, but in Thai, because the IT is come after the Western a lot, and we cannot get the sample of the IT profession who retired, because the IT job was created around 20 years ago, and the person who works in IT is not retired. What do you think is a higher study to prepare that question?
That's a very interesting question. One question I always get is, why do you do research on old people and their IT use? Because in 20 years, there are no old people anymore who have not used IT before. But that is actually not the point. It is not about the usage of IT. It is about the openness to try new technology. I bet you guys are heavy users of TikTok. I don't understand that platform. I stopped at Facebook, and my kids are, Facebook is for old people. Okay, get out. Thank you for that. Every new platform, and I bet in 5 years there's something new, and you come to my age. I wish one day, keep my fingers crossed. One day you stop trying out every new platform that passes by. And when I'm getting like 30 years older and I'm in my late 80s, and the hot new thing is to get an eye implant. So you don't need a screen anymore. We put it directly into your eyeball. I have the certain feeling I don't want to do that. And then I'm out, because everybody does it. But the old one, he doesn't want to get his eyeball replaced. I don't understand that. So, and the same thing will happen to you when you're getting older. There is a change in the mind, in the behavior, in the cognitive side that you experience when you're getting older. You're not as curious anymore. You don't need to, well, just another platform. And we need to try to understand these mechanisms. And that is the aim behind this. This is why we will always have old people and always changing technology. So currently we have people who did not use technology before. And in 10 years, we will probably have people who have not used this type of technology before. So this is the thinking behind it. Yeah, for example. Yes, please.
Hello, guten Tag. Can I go back to your slides? I think that's page 19, about your algorithm, the reaction of your algorithm. Yes, perfect. Yes, so you have mentioned a while ago that you also have subjects like 5 Thais, right? So I'm just curious to know if you also factor out the first mother language of the people that you're testing with, most especially that, say, for example, these people doesn't speak too much English, or their competency in English is not as a native one. So in terms of the reactions of delay, speech rate, and frequency might also is inaccurate than that of a native speaker.
Thank you for the question. non-native German speakers were not part of the model. So we just tested it on them. And we were actually curious exactly about that thing. It was more like a test balloon. So there were some exchange students. We said, "Oh, do you want to participate? Yeah, why not?" We had 5 Thais, 3 Azerbaijani, and 2.5 Turks, I think. So we just did it for fun. And the interesting thing was that the algorithm performed on exactly the same rate as with the Germans, with the trained language. That leaves 2 interpretations. Lying is language insensitive because you experience the same emotion I do, you just speak a different language. And as our algorithm does not understand what you say, it doesn't care. It just picks up your emotion. That is the positive side. The negative interpretation would be we are measuring something different. We're actually not measuring lie or non-lie. We are measuring another emotion that is behaving slightly analog to that. But I have no idea how to find that out. We tested for multiple things. We tested for nervosity, for example. When is the student most nervous? Exams, exactly, right before the exams. And what type of exams do students hate the most? Oral exams. And I have an oral examination every year. So I told my students, okay, when you come to the oral examinations, if you want, just you enter the room and you give us a 30 seconds interview. When that interview is done, you come to my desk and I give you a hell of an examination. And we asked them to indicate their level of nervousness on a scale of 1 to 5. And everybody was like 6. They were so nervous. It was unbelievable. And then after like 2 or 3 weeks, we did the same thing again when they were calm. So our algorithm performed as expected. So it's not nervousness, what we're measuring, but we can only theoretically deduct that we are actually measuring the lie. It may be something different, but we haven't found that yet. It performs very well in a lying, non-lying context, that I can say. And to all we know up to now, it is language insensitive. But I wouldn't put my hand in the fire for that because the sample is too small. So 5 people, there's a bit of random and luck involved as well. But it's a very interesting thing. So what I'd be most interested in, different religious cultural background, like Buddhism versus Christianity versus something else, because I think that can be like a strong cultural predictor. And maybe you need to see what are the differences in between that, and how can I construct a solid research argument to see that the perception towards a lie is different in 2 different cultures. When in a business environment, when we are having a heavy negotiation, and you are a Chinese person and you bluntly lie to me, that is from your side not accepted as a lie. That is normal negotiation behavior. If I would do that to you, I would have a bad feeling because I'm lying. It is not normal negotiation behavior. That's cultural differences. So this makes the whole study very interesting. We could do that. Now the question is, where is the lie in there? So is the person really lying? Cognitive dissonance. If Donald Trump, the election was stolen. No, it was not. Yes, it was stolen. That he really believes that. It's a cognitive dissonance thing. And then he's not lying anymore. That would be interesting. I mean, there are a lot of interesting cases out there. Elon Musk, for example. there's a lot of interesting stuff. So as said before, I would really like to have professional fraudsters. So I need a police interrogation recording for that. There are publicly available sets of that in Romanian. So you can Google it. There's a whole set of, I think, 35 interviews from the police force of Romania that is publicly available. But then I, again, don't know, is that a language issue, cultural background issue? I think it's easier if I get in touch with our police department and say, hey, I have a brilliant idea. Always, always. I mean, these interviews are recorded anyway. It is mainly a data protection thing. There are other interesting data sets from court cases. So you have a judge and you have a defendant and you have the other side, the state and stuff. But it's very difficult to actually know when they are lying or not. So I can say, okay, and here my algorithm detected it correctly because I don't know if it's correctly or not. So secondary data is difficult for that.
Someone coming in to look at a condo bar. Oh, I'll be back.
Yeah, yeah. Because the wife said no, I know that. Now, for negotiation, it would be like really helpful. Just imagine like tough business negotiations that go on for days and weeks and stuff. And some of these are, I'm just negotiating with you to keep my competitor out of the race, but I don't want to actually buy something. But that is from a data privacy side, probably pretty difficult. Another thing I would find massively interesting, AI can actually model any voice. I need a voice snippet of you of whatever, 10 seconds, and then I can have an AI read a whole lecture with exactly your voice. That is not nice. Or does that artificially generated voice carry emotions or not? That is very interesting because we don't know how your brain translates the emotion into your voice. So there is a set of theories about it, about acoustics, about prosodics, etc. But still we don't know what does the brain tell your body to behave like that. So my hypothesis is that an artificially generated speech file does not have emotions. Why should it? How could you do it? How could you fake, in this case, how could you fake an emotion if you're not a human being? But we haven't gone into that yet, but it would be very interesting. That could then help us to say, okay, this is an artificially generated file, and it is not really you who say to become next university president and kick out all your colleagues. That was an AI lie, basically, I hope. Are there further questions? And I'm a bit over my time, I think. Well, thank you very much.